Western side, obviously you've got the gas station just as you come out. Yep. It's pretty difficult to get in towards that though, uncontested, especially with how ram-packed this circle is right now above them.
Well, good news for them, IG does decide to rotate in towards the northern side, Kinnetrop as well. But when you do hug the edge of this this water side, you know you're going to be taking some shots not only across the way, but as soon as you peek your head at the top, it's most likely going to get popped off. I mean, Kinnetrop, great example. They've been looking to gatekeep unintentionally. They didn't know about it, but they knew there was going to be a team most likely coming across that bridge, and once they see it, it's Kinnetrop who's just absolutely ready for it. Ida, however, is set up still quite nicely, and I think for them, especially R8, NTxJaMiR, going to rotate straight into them. I think this might be a big game from Ida if the zones continue to bless them.
I'm feeling for Alpha 7 right now as well. Over on that northern side, they're having to push out into the blue. We'll see where they try and wrap around. It could be a long sweep out to the west and push in behind Intense Game. We'll have to see, because they've just actually disappeared north from our map feed. And of course, you guys can check out the map feed over on the YouTube channel. Make sure you're checking that one out to make sure you're up to date, seeing where everyone's going at all times. Alpha Gaming losing Doc, though. That's in a fairly pivotal position. That's over in Milta, as Thunder Talk are going to look to push across.
Yeah, Thunder Talk getting active. Good to see that from them. They've obviously been a very talented roster towards the top echelon when it comes to this group. Anyways, at 50 points, a very realistic option and chance for them to break into top 8. Squashes down to the zone. Mafioso takes down route from Falcons as they do get active. We talked about them having to rotate far up north. Taking down Falcons here would be big for them. Obviously, Alpha 7 still wants to be the champions once again. Taking down the home team this early and stopping their chances essentially after game 2 for top 8 would be massive.
So nasty for Falcons. They managed to get that first knock. They do a lot of damage, but now Redox is isolated. Novalo's isolated. Koa's out in the middle of nowhere comparatively. He's over the road, back where we saw them before, up towards that hillside. And they're taking these slow 1v1s. Alpha 7 committing 2 to a single engagement is what has turned the tides here. Sure, they've lost Squash, but they are now descending, and they've got 2 players in. Novalo, surely there's no chance as Mafioso descends. It's Carrillo who draws first blood, Revo who puts him down, and Redox turns his tail and runs.
Yeah, he's gone. He's out. He's going to go ahead and join his teammate just off to the left-hand side and try and lock down this house. If Falcons now pushes into where Redox as well as his teammate is currently at, it's not going to be an easy rotate for them. I am sure of it. We have another zone shift. Weibo once again has to relocate and go to the north, but this time it's going to be the most difficult rotation they have had yet because Kinnetrop already had them on the radar. APG was also looking directly at them. And now I'm glad to see R8 on the screen because they were just like Alpha 7 earlier, rotated way north through shelter, came back down, and now they look to challenge Alpha 7. But it's not a real challenge. You can't break into that hardcover POI unless you crash in, and that's almost a death sentence. So I think for them, yeah, they're going to go ahead and rotate and find a better option.
The good thing for R8 is they don't necessarily need to crash. Alpha 7 need to leave. Not necessarily immediately, but they can send on in. But they want to crash anyway. They're sending on through. Looks like Prestige. Oh, he's got himself an AWM there. We'll be able to hunt some heads, I hope, in the coming moments. But they're coming up against Nongshim Red Force. So, of course, that Sandhawk, they're coming off fresh from a chicken dinner.
But I am happier with this crash as opposed to what maybe they were thinking about with Alpha 7. Alpha 7, though, still could play an impact from a distance as they do have that high ground. So you're in the shed, through the doorways, you overexpose yourself, you take a lot of damage, and that only helps Nongshim Red Force in this scenario. Rosemary, opposite of King, and he's dipping. Question is, can he get away, and can Moana help him from a distance?
He's got that cover around the sidelines there. I think Moana's going to be able to hold his nerve. That buggy eating a lot of the damage from behind. The spray downs there, and Thunder Talk pulled up quite a lot, and they will be slow now as the circle puts pressure on. Are they going to chase, or are they going to try and keep things together and go for a different approach? Meanwhile, Alter Ego trying to push over towards NTxJaMiR as they disengage from Thunder Talk. They put themselves into another sightline, and it will be on this top side of the hill. The nade in from Krypton, but no one's going down just yet.
They've got to make a decision. If you're Alter Ego, Egos, you've got AXTMG to your north, you've got Thunder Talk to your south, you've got a crashing on one, and it looks like it's going to be AXTMG. If you can disengage from this, you just got to full send it directly into the middle of the zone. Depot T cannot take down Rosemary. Mind you, update, we do lose Intense Game, our first team, by the way. With how chaotic these zones have been, I am surprised we are just now losing only one team. Back on board with Henry, up close, he goes down. Alter Egos need this win. They need to recover from the rough game number one that they had, and they're doing exactly that in sensational style.
They slipped the pin, and Alter Ego managed to get around to the other side of AXTMG. With Rosemary down, another as well, down on bended knee. They'll need to try and pick it up, but of course they can. It's Alter Ego. But can they get Rosemary back in time? Because Thunder Talk are following in their footsteps.
Thunder Talk, like you said, right behind them. They were going to pincer in Alter Egos when they were opposite of AXTMG. But now Alter Egos can put their full focus on the Jing as well as the entirety of Thunder Talk, taking them down within control. They would monopolize the entire northern side of the current zone, which would be massive for them. But this isn't going to be an easy fight. Nades are already coming out. Thunder Talk is taking the first shots. Krypton takes a bit of damage. You got vehicles to disengage, but Thunder Talk really can't go anywhere. They are forced to fight.
4 players still alive, though, which means that they do have a shot here into this engagement. Alter Ego looking to keep this pressure up. Are Ida going to try and chime in? I don't think they're going to want to leave their position right now. No. A little bit closer down towards Milta. Next circle is going to come on through, and it goes a lot more central, so Ida definitely not wanting to flex out at this stage. GaMaX very happy. I'm looking at E-Arena as well in the middle of this one, having a good time. I think Power, they'll be able to survive. I'm not expecting them to be able to get up towards these hills. But then again, and this is going to sound mean, it's GaMaX in their way, so it might be a little bit easier.
Might be a little bit easier, right? And GaMaX hasn't moved, by the way. That's been one of their things that's hurt them so much, is their inability to make a conscious decision of, this is what we need to do. Let's make an effort. Let's push up. But granted, I will say they've been center zone. Where they're currently at and how they're playing is not bad, according to how the zone currently looks, because theoretically, everybody's going to have to rotate into them into center, so maybe they can pick up more eliminations in the future. But right now, at 6 points, you got to think teams are most likely going to bully them and push in. For Thunder Talk, AE, they have to push out, and Alpha 7 is also skirting around relatively close to their vicinity, and once again, Alter Egos might be getting pincered, but this time between Thunder Talk and Alpha 7, so taking down Thunder Talk now is imperative.
It's not a full threat from Alpha 7, though. Only a few of them moving in, and that's going to allow Krypton to be unleashed, and Thunder Talk, they have no chance. This guy is insane on the swivel, finding 1, finding 2, the rest of the team with a volley of fire, and the E-limbs just keep coming. Alter Ego now up to 7. That first game, forget about it. Eyes on Erangel.
And you know what? That's impressive and going to be a massive talking point going into the final stages, because Alter Egos, they can take a bad game and a terrible loss and then turn it around the very next games, which shows composure, shows tenacity, and shows their ability to keep their head in the game despite potentially going through struggles. That's how you become a champion, and I'm calling it early. Alter Egos might very well be in the top 3 running. We look at E-Arena now, Alpha 7. We haven't seen Alpha 7 get active for just a little bit. The last and Alpha 7 should win this with the utility being thrown and the early damage being affected. Joker is feeling it. Alpha 7, you know them. They're going to want to push this as aggressively as they can.
It feels like this may be their final rotation of the game. They've moved into the roadblock, and they're just trying to survive now, try and outlast these teams. Sure, they can get these nades. I don't imagine that they have the presence, the pressure, with 3 players alive to go for a full push here. Who are going to be able to earn the lion's share of this engagement, of this push towards E-Arena.
Yeah, R8's going to be just behind him. GaMaX does have an opportunity potentially to fire some shots. I think they've got to keep their heads down, though, because you have Alter Ego Ares, who is firing down on GaMaX's position. But here is R8. You mentioned them now pushing in. You got to feel bad for E-Arena. They're between R8, they're between Alpha 7, and they're all huddled within the same location, which makes nades and utility that much more effective. For Alpha 7, though, they continue to bunker down where they are currently at. They do not want to move, and I think this is an opportunity where GaMaX, because can't they peek them, if I'm not mistaken, from their location?
It's difficult. There's a little bit of cover. The terrain does give you some cover off. Obviously, Carrillo has the terrain of the actual roadblock itself, of the checkpoint, to play cover towards GaMaX. It's just about covered off, and that is a disadvantage of playing on this checkpoint, is that it is bit of a dearth of information because you don't have sight lines towards a lot of positions. You're playing, obviously, you know there's a team above you. You've taken fights with them. You're going to hear these gunshots, but you're not going to be able to scope people out. You're not going to be able to take shots. You're not going to be able to suppress a lot of the area around you. That's why I said earlier, it felt like a final rotation for Alpha 7, especially as a 3-player team. I just don't expect them to be leaving this location. The question is, what can they earn from it?
Well, so R8 has made a decision. They're rotating out. They might be giving up this fight between Alpha 7 and E-Arena. Maybe ID comes back into the fold, but I think for them, taking the northern side, maybe challenging the weaker force of Falcons. I say weaker only because they're down to a duo. Meanwhile, R8 still a 4-man unit would be powerful. For E-Arena, they've got the hard cover, but now they've got to push into Alpha 7. This isn't going to be easy for E-Arena. You got R8 still behind you with a couple of stragglers who are just keeping you uncomfortable. Alpha 7 in front of you. If E-Arena makes it out of this, there's no way that they lose this game. If they do make it out unscathed, that is, but I expect them, even if they do win it, they're losing at least 2 or 3.
I mean, Alter Ego, though, still there. That's going to be one hell of a hurdle to cross. They're already up to 11 elims, by the way. R8 trying to make their approach, and E-Arena will go 1-for-1 on the trade. Ida has to back up. Look for the res here. Prestige not going to waste any time. A big nade coming through from Mormon, though. That's going to change the tide of things. Prestige needs to commit, needs to get some damage here. Looks good with the arc. Is he going to be able to connect too much more? The reses are coming through for R8, and they're keeping the pressure up, but the res comes through, and now 4 players still stand for E-Arena. The nade, again, not connecting.
I am shocked. E-Arena has 4 players up, and they're actually doing a ton of damage to R8. Prestige from a distance. Hill makes it so awkward. He can't even get up. You got Outbriefus from APG, who might be on the backside. I think he's thinking about it. Okay, do I have clear line of sights? If I do, I'm taking him, and that's going to be all on R8. And actually, here he goes, getting active, and this could help E-Arena so much.
They've managed to find that first and an immediate flush. R8 not in a position. They were almost committed to that push. Every focus was on the E-Arena compound. This Alpha Gaming flex out, I mean, it was a risk, but it's paid off beautifully. Alpha 7, are they trying to look for a move?
Looks
no,
like
I don't think so. Not just yet, but Carrillo's sending nades on in. They're keeping the pressure up on the other side of this engagement.
This is messy. This is chaotic. The winner of this fight could very well go on to win game number 2 Erangel of the day. Alpha Gaming has moved even further up. They're taking the 4th position. E-Arena now has a couple of players who are down. 2 players to stand up. Carrillo, he wants to push up. He wants to at least get a line of sight on any stragglers who peek their head over the corner. Prestige finally moving in. He's been waiting to do this for the longest time. A nade's being cooked. He swings the angle. He gets the drop, but it's not done just yet. E-Arena fights back through the window. R8 are down. It's down to Mark, who hits the shotgun shot through the doorway, though. Clutching up is our boy Mormon from E-Arena. But now, is this the time where Alpha 7 says enough is enough? We know you're weak. We're taking you down.
They don't have the pressure, and that's the disadvantage of this location. They are just hiding here. They don't have the time or the angles to push up towards it. Fortunately, they don't have to, because the circle is going to force E-Arena over towards them. They have got that top shot going over their heads from Gamax to suppress E-Arena's rotation, and even further behind them, Alter Ego have those shots. It's going to make E-Arena's approach really, really difficult. Power trying to leave Milta as well. The options are shutting down now for E-Arena.
Hovercraft for power, by the way. They still have it. We'll keep that in mind. That's going to be so valuable in these open in-game fights. For E-Arena, astounding performance. 4 alive. We cannot discredit how amazing that is, getting pincered between R8, having APG also moving in on you. The fact that they move out with 4 is something I was not expecting. If Joker can somehow, some way, get on top of this roof and look down on Alpha 7, E-Arena could make a play of a lifetime and push even deeper into zone, but he's already taken damage from the distance.
That's Alter Ego, and even with that high ground advantage, you just can't take those angles. The shape of the terrain just doesn't allow it. They try and go for this crash. Alpha 7 have such a strong hold, and Carrillo's holding face against 2, finds them, and immediately shuts them down. Mormon in the smoke, and Carrillo retreats a little bit closer towards his teammate, but he's helping out. He's getting bold. The weapon swap's there, and the team of E-Arena are falling. Joker with a nade, but Carrillo is farming them as they approach.
Oh, but the nade connects on the Carrillo. The farming ends, and Joker becomes the farmer himself, but only for just a little bit. Carrillo should get back onto his feet. And now we are down to our top 4 teams. And finally, GameX starts to get active. They're getting pushed, and it's Alter Ego.
From the northeast side, Power have managed to move up behind Alter Ego, so it could be dangerous. The ground floor now taken. Moana, Krypton, followed by Rosemary into the ground floor now, pushing GameX up on high. Molotovs to burn it, to slow things down before they can get this res, though. These nades are going to start to come on through. Healing now being done, and Alter Ego have pressure from the high ground that they have just deserted.
Rosemary bottom left, he's been the highest damage dealer so far. Krypton as well, to be a great courtesy to Rosemary's performance. GameX getting pieced apart, but Arthur wants to stop the bleeding. He wants to put Alter Egos into the grave, but will it be possible? I don't know. You got Rosemary, the top dog, with Krypton down below, and he's hugging a corner. He's hugging it tight, but the question is, does GameX give up their high ground? They're on the second floor, I don't think they do, but Arthur is burning, but only for a little bit.
He has that first 8 nades being poured over towards Alpha 7, huddled behind the checkpoint. Where, how are they finding these hiding places? I don't know. Carrillo fully flushed out. The nades keep going, and Power are putting more and more pressure on as time goes on. GameX, they're not out of it just yet. They've managed to extract some value out of Alter Ego, so they will finally fall. Alpha 7 are next to go down, and Power now have it all to do. They've got 4 players alive if they get this res, and Alter Ego on 3.
And they have the hovercraft as well. We cannot discredit how powerful that might be in this end zone, but it's hovercraft versus hardcover POI. Alter Ego's areas, 15 eliminations. 15, absolute insanity. We've been singing their praises. We've been talking about how amazing Rosemary is and how great this roster might be in the finals. Could they be consistent from yesterday to today? Well, game 1 gave us a bit of a fright. Maybe they're starting to slow down, but game 2, they shut us right up with 15 elims, now top 2 going for gold.
And Krypton is ahead of them, the tip of the spear. He is the top fragger right now. He's been doing a lot of work coming in on today, and he has still got a little bit more gas left in the tank. Over to easy. Krypton and Moana. Moana goes down, and Krypton falls next. A nice hold there along the sight lines for Power, and it's all up to the man himself. It's Rosemary with a chance to prove that he can take a 1v4. Sure, it might be against Power, but it would be legendary. Unfortunately, it's not to be. And Power managed to leave Milta in the chaos, move in behind Alter Ego, and they take a chicken dinner.
9 eliminations, mind you. A big difference from the Power that we've been seeing in the previous days. Power takes the first win of the day for themselves. Of course, game number 2, but you cannot discredit how amazing Alter Ego's Ares are to snap back from game number 1 into game 2. But Power, a roster that I expect a lot from. They've been on the minds of the desk. They've been on the minds of the talent. Finally, they performed the way we were expecting.
There he is, the man himself.
Already.
Fucking hell happy. We love it. We love it. We are, of course, going to see how that's going to affect the standings, but I think another big story on this is, of course, Alter Ego. 15 elims, second place. That's going to give them 21 points. They kicked off the game on 78, which is going to put them up at 100. Is that... No, not quite.
Alpha
Just
Gaming
about
Confusion.
on the cusp of breaking into the triple digits.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is, pretty much top 8 already guaranteed, right? Coming out from the team of Alter Egos. They want to catch 4th Thrives. They want to be in first place, and the opportunity is there because we're still talking, you said it, right? Going into Sanhok, there's a lot of money on the line that we haven't talked about as much, what, $80,000. So you want to definitely secure that, give you a little bit of a confidence boost heading in to the finals. Game number 2 has concluded. We've still got plenty more to go. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, game 3 coming your way.
Đây có lấy
your streaming partner for the 2025 Esports World Cup.
I took a dive. I took a dive. I didn't know I was so deep into your eyes. I've never been somewhere so sweet. I'm hypnotized. Yeah, you put my mind at ease. Hard to divide. I'm thankful that you're mine. Look in the mirror, keep on looking at me. I've spent 7 years looking for love and get home. Now I know your love is all I need. Now I know your love is all I need. Running around with you always by my side, off of the ground. Cause I'm feeling so damn high, hypnotized. Yeah, you put my mind at ease. Got to divide. You all love that I get home. Now I know your love is all I need. Now I know.
Power not just getting the win in-game, but also taking all the loot IRL. This team, I mean, they ended up using hover traps to their advantage there, Max.
I mean, you play in Milta, you're right next to the beach. Guess what drops over there? It is going to be the hovercraft. They've got it. They had full control of the hovercraft from minute 1 of the game until the very end of the match, and it allows them to apply so much pressure onto Alpha 7, onto the side of Ultrigo to confirm that game. They were quite passive until the very end of this match, right? But they were just holding onto their resources. And you can't really fault them for that because you were in circle, you were in the compound. You just chill. You're chilling out.
Which is fine, right? And I'm glad that the MENA region starting to react here for me. As I was calling them out earlier, I wanted to see a little bit more. We were scared that this might have been the play. This might be a turnaround. I don't know yet, though, because there was another team. R8.
Yes.
A lot of third partying from the squad.
So much, and I really enjoy how they used that as momentum, right? They had a big old third party over in farm. That was a really good thing. They were able...
I'm the only one. Only one. I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules. My life destroyed. Life destroyed. Until I woke awake, scream my mind, I shout the
But then they were forced to wait on the edge because they were nade range, so again pushed on back. And off the back of that, they just keep getting forced against the side of the blue. And unfortunately, that's the main issue with third parties. When you are delayed significantly, you're then forced to go into a fight you just don't want to take anymore. And because of that, R8 were not able to go the entire way. The first third party, amazing. Second one, a little bit lackluster for me.
It was a bit shaky there. And then on top of that, I mean, you had Arena Sakura just popping off through the smoke. 2 players run shotgun. He made it happen as we're going to be taking a look here at the match ranking. Alter Ego Ares, even though they didn't get the win, this team was just absolutely dominating. 15 eliminations, 21 points total there, Max.
We we really need to talk about Alter Ego right now. Because every time they drop Lipovka, they go for wide rotation into the side of Milta Power, go back up to the I mean every single team on Lumberyard. I think that 11 eliminations the moment they start to leave Lumberyard. Go for the push onto GMX's compound. And that's keeping in mind that the circle just kept shifting away from them. Like, this is not a gifted circle win. They had to fight for a tooth and nail the entirety of this match. So Alter Ego, man, they are bringing the heat just like yesterday.
One thing I really enjoy about Alter Ego was how quickly that decision making with the fights ended up happening. It allowed them just to get so much control of the circle, especially towards the north, even though the circles kept going away from them.
Yeah, I think it's something that we're really enjoying seeing is just their time. They're able to just make a decision very, very quickly, and so you're able to spot that information first of all, spot it really quickly, make a decision based on that, and then go for it all in the span of like 5 seconds is really, really important, especially when you get to this level. And for Alter Ego, I mean, with 15 eliminations and a second place, it's exactly what you want to see.
We're talking about all these teams there that finished towards the top. Let's talk about another team, because going into this airing goal with the groups that are currently playing, we had APG not really having to worry about 4 Thrives. He kind of seemed promising there for a little bit until some interesting splits ended up happening, Max, and Dog got eliminated first.
I was very confused as to why they did that 2-2 split. I think it was Top and Doc over into Milton, the two other players of Reefus going over to the western side. I was very confused because if you want to have a 2-2 split, it's better to have a 2-2 split where you can actually see your teammates and you can directly assist them. But no, Top and Doc were deep into Milta. Thundertalk come rushing right into the city, get a 4v2, the easiest fight in the century for them at that point. It was just so easy to execute, and then they're just down to a duo at the very end. So again, I like 2-2 splits, but the way they did it there just makes very little sense to me. I want to see them just maybe a little bit more tightly knitted together in positions like a city finish like
that. Seems to be coming up again and again, right? That's the new fragging duo. So you could see how they might put a little bit too much confidence into the weird split, but yeah, you're right. Once you get run over by 4 players, it's not going to happen, especially with the momentum of moving in, crashing a building. There is momentum in that, and so that's where you're going to see them fall down.
Well, we're talking about all these teams now. I want to see what the overalls currently be looking like, because Alter Ego, did you do enough now to be in second place? And they did. What a performance by this team. And I mean, they still have 4 more games to go. Look, it's looking scary there for 4 Thrives. They might end up catching up now with Alter Ego at 99 points and 69 eliminations. Nice.
How many points are they going to have at the end of today if they maintain this kind of momentum?
130.
130? Yeah. I was thinking that was the fact that they would do a massive gap like that, and 4 Thrives still had an amazing group stage, is a very big statement at the very start here at PMWC.
So let's take a look at what Alter Ego's doing, right? Currently, they're in second place, and then the next team that's following them that still has matches to go is going to be Alpha 7, and they're all the way down in 7th place. There is a 30-point gap right there. If you're Alter Ego, and this is going to be a question for both of you, and I'm going to go with you first, Max. Once you end up passing 4 Thrives, do you maybe want to hinder the performances of some of the other teams that might be struggling, or that you might make it a little bit harder for them to get?
No, you're not making it to finals. Go to the disgusting survival stage over there. You don't belong there just yet.
Alter Ego, making it harder for APG. I like that. Nep?
I typically disagree with anything target. Yeah, you say. No, I typically disagree with things like, trying to target other teams once you've reached a certain threshold. However, I really like your idea of actually trying to gatekeep APG, because they just would not expect it. I think that would be super effective.
Okay. All right. I want to see some other team. Pretty much just get spoiled there by the way that Alter Ego's playing, because this team right now, it feels like they're doing just everything absolutely perfect. Going to this second Erangel, though, I want to see if they can continue on this momentum. So let's send it over to the casters. Soldier Reflections and John Allen.
The test for the heavy work, as much as you guys have been. Map number 3, halfway point for today, and time again is running out. We were kind of calculating how many points the teams need to be at. I think 63 was the number that you were calculating. I don't do math, you do, but hey, 63 I think, right, is where the teams need to be by the end of game 3.
That would put you at a 7-point average over the games that you've played so far. That would be more than 80 points over the course of the 12 matches that you get to play, which is where we're expecting that bubble to be. Obviously, Alter Ego Ares blasting that metric out of the water. They're on 99 on 8. An incredible performance coming through. That's over a 12-point average, which is insane. Generally, we talk about these first place teams hovering around a 10-point average. So to be up and over 12, over 8 matches.
Yeah.
Is pretty crazy.
So Hora Esports at 46, they're just below that threshold. I think this is their game. I'm feeling it. You go back to day one, and Hora started off game number 3 with a second place finish, 16 total points with 10 eliminations. So for me, I think this is their opportunity to shine and blast past through that point threshold at 63. So Hora, all eyes on them. For me, who you looking out for?
I think that Max might have been on the money. Weibo with a slow start. They're going to be pushing in, getting a little bit more momentum now. It's time to engage the thrusters.
Not too late.
Let's see if the PEL can do it.
Gana
Alpha
lagi.
Gaming, they're rubbish. Everybody hates it.
Yo, hold on, chill out. He said that, not me. Alpha Gaming still in the running alongside that of Hora Weibo.
You know who hates them the most?
Who's
Max, man.
Is that right?
Yeah, he really hates Alpha Gaming.
You know, I'm glad Maxman is a strong individual because he gets a lot of flack on the desk by you.
Well, he makes predictions and therefore can be criticized for them.
Absolutely. Well, I think he's just an easy target in general. All right.
Hey, no, the guy's lovely.
Yeah, the guy's lovely. Love Maxman. Hey, here it is. We go into our next game. Wow, hold up.
Hey, it's that time.
Hey, it is that time, and Hora's ready to get rocking. All right, opposite of my set. This is Hora's game, but they've got to win this initial fight.
Jiggle around the corner. Using a valuable nade, and incredibly valuable because that was in fact the only weapon that he has. He's pulling the knife, but immediately shut down by the shotgun. It looks like the weaponry's on side for R8, but the trades are still there. It is just ordnance here. No, a double.
Down Sleepy still makes an attempt and hits the shots needed. Wait a second. Just when you think it swings into the favor of R8, Hora turns it around, and Hora stands 10 toes down, living it out. 2 players down, yes, but they're going to get back up. This is Hora's game, and I predicted it.
Oh my goodness me, he's going to be insufferable. It's good news that we're handing over to Jackie and Blank after this match. I don't think I could stand it too much longer. But,
you love me, son.
Well, it's all right. We'll get over it, I'm sure. But yeah, Hora, fantastic early game results for them. A hot drop, though.
Yeah.
The fact that they're going for that this deep into things, that's an interesting dynamic, right? I think that's more on R8's shoulders than Hora's shoulders. But there's a lot of teams on this northwest side. The plane path was from Zaki down to the west side of Sosnovka, which seems to have put a lot more focus on that northwestern side. If you include the team that just went down R8, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams that dropped from Zaki to George in that area.
I think there's a better way to get points. I think there's better ways. However, for R8, they realize, look, we're a little bit further down the leaderboard than we want to be. We've only got 3 more games remaining. Let's try a hot drop. Let's just go for it and go for gold. If we do lose it, we're going to be in the same position we were already in, which is going to the survival stage. So I do respect the gusto, but I do also think, again, there are other ways that R8 could have gone about game number 3 than they just currently did. But they chose how their path was going to, or how they were going to travel down their path. And it is what it is. On the bike we go for Alter Egos. Rosemary, again on your screen. They're coming off the back of a second place finish, map 2 with 15 eliminations. But I have to say Rosemary is a much better shooter than he is a bike rider.
Yeah, it needs to get a grip of those handlebars, mate. It's not. That's not how you do that.
Not at all.
The walls are the things you avoid.
Do you ever rode a unicycle?
Have I ever rode a unicycle?
Yeah.
I've tried.
Have you actually? I never have.
Yeah.
Nice to hear you say that. Very adventurous.
I have tried.
Okay. You fall?
And that's all I'll say about that.
I want the video.
Well,
the receipts.
That's you have to pay extra for that.
Okay.
That's not part of the usual day rate.
Fair enough. Well, hey, let me know what the price is. Alpha 7, GPay have already started rotating on the northern end of the zone, and I wonder if that's intentional, at least for Alpha 7, to kind of gatekeep GPay again. GPay, hate to continue to say it, but they want to try and take them down maybe potentially as quickly as possible. See them, and they did actually take them down in game number 2 very early on, so maybe seeing a repeat on that. As far as the center goes, we look at NTxJaMiR Red Force, who's going to be dead center, right? Still trying to fill out the zones. They've got Falcons around them. Power, it's starting to get contested, but that's kind of what we expect. This zone isn't as diabolical as the last zone was, but it's relatively similar, so we're probably going to see a lot of the same rotation.
Taking up residence there, looks like Again, NTxJaMiR in a fairly strong compound on the west side of those Yaz fields, but there's a history of mismanagement in that roster, and I'm starting to lose faith that they are able to pull that off. So I wonder who's going to take that from them. That will be the question on my mind. Alter Ego starting to stretch their legs to head a little bit further north.
He said, trying to find the slice. Where's it at? Where do they stop? Well, I don't think they know just yet. Maybe circling power is just keeping that pressure on. They'll take a little bit of damage, but for Easy, is Easy isolated? I think he might very well be. The rest of the power roster seems to be off in the distance. I don't expect anybody to crash in on him. Yeah, so power is going to be roaming. Easy keeping that compound, maybe trying to keep it in check, maybe keep a presence there so nobody pushes into him. I do notice though Falcons is getting dangerously close.
Yeah, they will try, I'm sure. I'll try their luck. Power on the God compound overlooking that mansion area, and over on the east they're going to be difficult to displace there. May have a team rock up and play neighbor on that north side of the ridge, but we'll have to wait and see. Ida as well now, a late entry towards the circle. They dropped down towards Military Island earlier on in this match. They were split on the west side. They got off of the Military Island earlier than APG did, and Weibo Gaming currently not challenging from Primorsk. They are a little bit behind that rotational speed.
Mormon, good shots on the side, not enough. He has to go down. Might be tempting to gatekeep them depending on how they go. I know they're in the vehicles, but APG being behind them, I'm curious once they do get to Pochinki, what Weibo decides to do with APG.
May just be able to extricate themselves. I mean, they are about 400, 500 meters apart from one another, so not necessarily going to come into contact just yet. Alpha 7, fairly split right now. They sent Revo in to have a look, get his nose, and poke it into some business. Right now, down towards the south side, towards Kinotrope, towards Power. APG going for the regroup. This is out in the blue zone, so they are starting to tick down, but it is stage 1. They can chill out a little bit. They should have plenty of meds. So losing up in the military base, you're going to have basically as much as you want in your backpack. You can see the level 3s across the board for Doc. They will have whatever they so desire.
I'll be keeping my eye out on Nogs from Red Force. They've got this 2-2 split still, and Falcons has been right in between them for the longest time. For a moment, I thought they were right on top of each other. Very, very close. Doc starts to move in with his teammate. There's Weibo finally starting to make their way over towards school. APG still behind. I think that fight is going to unfold. I'm still feeling it. Weibo, APG, obviously time will tell how that ends up unfolding. And then Alter Egos and Alpha 7 could be a fun fight to see. And then Thundertalk moving in, who's going to be opposite of Kinotrope. They've got history. Thundertalk, Kinotrope, Alter Egos, all within that same area. That right side of the map is super scary.
There's a lot of open ground. This is a Yaz field circle here. It's just so open out there. The Falcons have managed to make their way up to the compound to the south of NTxJaMiR. They should be fairly safe. Teams are going to have to divert around them. It's going to be very difficult to crash into these areas now as teams have found their footing in the zone. Down towards that southwest side, Weibo have managed to pull up just behind Ida on that southwest edge. They can chill out, but as you say, it is Alpha Gaming who is still yet to push in from that southwest side. The east edge is where I'm now looking. Thundertalk and Alter Ego, both are still yet to come in on this next circle.
That's right. Still hanging out on the edge. A little bit of time to do so. The longer they wait, the more established teams get and hold up in their hardcover POIs. It will develop over time. For now, everything is okay. Obviously, we lost R8 a little bit earlier. Alter Egos did lose one a second ago, but at least for the time being, they're going to be okay. So APG does start to get close, and Suk is going to be kind of isolated out there with his own vehicle as APG starts to close in. Team Falcon start to fire a couple shots off in the distance, and we now start to see what Alpha 7's going to be up to. And yeah, ThunderTalk are moving in. Revo setting the trap. Here come the shots.
ThunderTalk rolling on in, and Revo immediately clipped off the eaves of the roof. And it is going to be a 1-for-1 trade. King looks a little floor, but Carrillo falls as well. AJ perfect with the nade, and now just one of Alpha 7 remains. It's Squash. He's pushing on the upstairs, but sees the fire.
Relatively weak. Squash down low. ThunderTalk hasn't pushed up just yet. And honestly, I'm a fan of that. I'm glad they didn't get over aggressive. I think most teams would have. ThunderTalk realized, look, we've got the rest of the Alpha 7 roster down. Why do we want to expose ourselves to 4 individual 1v1v1v1s? Let's walk in together. Let's play our numbers. Let's take down Squash in a good controlled fashion.
No more first aids for Squash either. Just those stims. He's got 10 bandages. Could potentially heal a little bit, but he's just keeping that shotgun trained on the exits here for ThunderTalk. And they step into the meat grinder. 2 go down. He turns his attention right. He's moving out wide. He still doesn't have the meds, but he gets the reload. And that's 2 of ThunderTalk down now. And Squash hops in for more. King just able to find the angle in the last second there. It looked hairy, and it was for ThunderTalk. There could potentially be a third party, but they'll survive as 4 for now.
Yep, great work for ThunderTalk, but almost a heroic effort from Squash, a man who's been known to clutch up. And speaking of clutching, Rosemary has now entered the fight. Alter Ego's Ares is starting to move up, but they're doing it in a controlled fashion, just waiting for the perfect opportunity to fire those shots at the second window of seeing who's up ahead for ThunderTalk. The rest of his team starting to come through. This isn't going to be an easy fight, but the good news to them, maybe unbeknownst, is, well, ThunderTalk is still recovering in a way. Yes, they've got their health, but now they don't have their wealth. They only have 3 men to work with, and it's all because of Arthur as well as Rosemary up ahead.
That is exactly what they needed to find there for Alter Ego. They didn't want to commit with the blue zone pushing in. This circle was just going to be too much of a threat to them. But now they're trying to roll forwards, and I wonder if they've taken too much time to deal with ThunderTalk here, and Gamax have extended their influence from the south side of Yasnaya Poliana. Losing 2, well, they lost 1 earlier in this match to Nongshim Red Force. So losing another leaves just 2 players alive. Rosemary and Moana, let's see what they can get done. They have, of course, I believe, if that flush comes through against ThunderTalk, that would be their 100th point, but they haven't managed to earn it just yet.
Not just yet, but you know what? They're getting close. We just saw Power take down a member from NTxJaMiR who is very, very low on the standings, coming from the Americas region. Actually, the first place team from the Americas region trying to break into top 8. I don't know if it's going to happen. They've got a lot of work ahead of them, and they're going to have to do it with just 3 men. ThunderTalk rolling past Gamex. Now, Gamex is a team that has been known to just kind of pump the brakes, not lay on the trigger, and it looks like they're doing exactly the same here, or maybe setting the trap. You do got a Gamex member who's going to be up ahead, but the question is, will they finally attack? One of the things about them is they like to sit on their hands a little bit too long.
See AJ just waiting there, waiting for the rest of the team to come back in towards him, for King to regroup, then they'll go for the next push. But across the Yas fields, it is so barren, it is so open. There's a couple of options, but they're not going to have to take them. They're going to have to head instead out to the west side. Now we're turning our attention to the teams out there, and on the east end of Rosok, you've got Ida, who have a hold there. Irina now pushing down towards that south edge, could potentially be looking to crash towards the Falcons' position, and in fact, they have managed to take the lower part of the compound away from the Falcons.
This could be one of the biggest fights we have seen yet in Game 3. Securing these compounds dead center of zone could very well be the difference between losing or winning, and I've got to be on the side of winning. I think this location specifically so critical for E-Arena and Falcons. They understand that. I don't expect them, though, to crash in just full send. I don't. I think they're going to stay here as long as they can, maybe wait for one to make a mistake. The teams on the outskirts is what's going to truly be interesting. Hora being one of them, moving past Kinatrop, maybe going straight into APG. They're going to stay in this little divot, however, but they do got a lot of company surrounding them.
Yeah, it's one of the few locations that you can really play here. Unfortunately, they've got neighbors, and the nades just tumble on in from Kinatrop, and Ora suffering heavily. And you know what? I'm going to bring it back up. You predicted them
Stop
at the
it.
start of this
I knew you-
match. You predicted them right at the start of this game. And now look where they are.
Well-
in a ditch with nades on their head.
They're still alive, okay? They're still alive and they're still putting up a fight, but maybe not for long. Kinotrope stayed in the grass, stayed in the weeds for the longest time and allowed Horda to push straight by them, and then they spring the attack. It's quite literally the perfect scenario. You got to think Kinotrope was waiting on a team to take that divot, take this piece of real estate so they can turn it into a mini red zone and just throw as many nades as possible. And well, sadly for Horda, this might be it, and it will officially be. They're the second team, or should be the third team, that has been eliminated. But now we shift our attention to ThunderTalk versus Kinotrope.
Doing a lot of damage to that hovercraft there, and they will actually be able to take it down here for ThunderTalk. Getting rid of Kinotrope's hovercraft may allow them to move forwards. That's what they're going to look for here. They're playing as 3. They lost one on the rotation, but they're up to 6 elims now, and they want to try and chase towards that 63-point boundary, which would look you healthy moving into the next matches.
Side note, Alter Egos have taken a long rotate through blue, maybe going behind that of GameX. We do hop on board with them as GameX is going to try and gate people. They're going to fire some shots. Alter Egos have had a tough game. And with Moana dropping in blue and Arthur firing some shots, fortunately he's going to be finished off. And now it's left up to Rosemary as solo fighting against the entirety of the world. There's so many players still left. You have to think Rosemary has not much time left in game 3.
He's going straight towards Nongshim. He's dead. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. How do you not connect that?
Oh, and he gets a crate too.
I would have been dead on if they weren't terrible at spraying that card out. I'm angry at Nongshim Red Force now.
Fair enough. Well, hey,
they're my enemy.
It's okay to be wrong. Okay, it's okay to be wrong. You were what, 3 seconds off?
Wrong Shim Ned Force. Red Force.
Okay. Well, Rosemary's still up. Much Master himself. Zone shift taking place relatively shortly. We know for a fact the Arena Falcons are going to be just fine where they currently are, dead center of the zone. They're still going to be within the next zone. Absolutely. There they are. They might have to rotate probably maybe next zone, but for now, they're doing just fine. For everybody else, well, you got a couple of teams. GameX, who has been doing quite well this game. I got to give them credit. Ida, but Power, IG, NTxJaMiR up on the top on the north side. It's going to be quite contested up there, and still you've got Kinotrope, you've got ThunderTalk, and APG all within that eastern side of the zone, still waiting for this fight to conclude. ThunderTalk can't really make a move. Kinotrope has to kind of stay low, and Ida, surely not. Are they rotating into GameX and maybe even behind Nongshim Red Force?
I think that may be the approach. I mean, it's difficult to go past Wavewalk, potentially looking to push in on across the road. Okay, they may be going to that ditch that Rosemary was trying to play around, I believe. Or was it the other crate? Not entirely sure. Either way, yeah, they're just going to try and insert north of GameX, so they're not wrapping behind them. They are just looking to try and get across the road here. This standoff on the south side of the Yas Fields continues between ThunderTalk and Kinotrope. There's 3 players alive for ThunderTalk, all 4 players alive for Kinotrope. It looks like they might be dry on nades, otherwise I imagine we'd be seeing some lime green art. Mint green? Not sure.
Mint green. I like mint green. I would say that's relatively close. Kinotrope, keep your head on a swivel, man, because I'm seeing some cars revving up. I'm thinking a push might be happening. They want to get this fight done and dusted and take them out. And the car does full send it in, it seems like, right? ThunderTalk, actually, hang on back. I thought I saw a car going straight in, but we don't. So for ThunderTalk, still okay. I only see 2. There's the third king off in the background. He wanted a vehicle.
Okay. He's just grabbing that back into control, making sure they have a multi-pronged attack if they want to go for this one, because it is a 3v4 crash. Not too much assistance going to be delivered from off angles here. Maybe a chime in from NTxJaMiR if Kinotrope don't keep their heads down, or if ThunderTalk get a little bit too bold. Grenades opening up. Imagine the players are going to try and follow this one in. They'll know now that they're playing towards the back. Another bouncer, that's a stun over towards the back lines there. And that's why you can't stand up too much. That comes from across the way. That is NTxJaMiR.
Push is finally in. AJ surpasses the hill, gets taken down immediately. Kinotrope knows the push was coming through the smoke. They were ready for it. They capitalize. AJ could still get back up, surprisingly, but Sitting wants to push in. He really does, and he's been hinting at the bogey push. It would be epic if he rolls in and runs over several members of the team that they've been fighting against for the longest time. Of course, that being Thunder Talk up ahead. The thing is, and I default to you, John, I mean, neither team can disengage in this moment. Like, they just got to continue to bump heads.
Yeah, it's a really difficult position to be in for both of these two teams. Those ditches are really tough to deal with. A double spray down there from Darkin, though. Have the backup of Emery, but he has to hit the deck and will not be able to assist anymore. Darkin goes down despite his gargantuan effort that he was able to put in. Another nade sent in from Arthur. It doesn't quite connect onto Emre. Sook, by the way, for Weibo, has just been in the middle of this circle like a turret. He's been taking shots over towards Thunder Talk, now down over towards Ida, now over towards Gamax. And I'm assuming Nongshim Red Force, I'm pretty sure they'll have eaten the lead there. But he's a solo outpost for Weibo, and he has been for quite a while. The guy's nuts.
The guy's nuts indeed. I mean, to stay that center and beat a turret, as you said, not an easy task, because you know everybody's going to be focused on you from time to time. Finally, some fireworks going off. AJ's up close on final mark, going down from Kinotrope. Kinotrope looks to be losing this engagement. Only one player left alive. Thunder Talk with one themselves. Both teams cannibalize each other, and it comes down to a 1v1 between Thunder Talk and, of course, the last remaining members of the other roster they were fighting off against just up ahead, being that of Kinotrope. And that's one of the tough spots about being in that position, right? It's really it's a lose-lose situation. The most you walk out with is elimination points, but making it to late game, once that fight finally concludes, usually doesn't end very well.
Crawling on over. Now NTxJaMiR, they flexed out. They're moving on up.
No patience.
Trying to take the fight, but immediately that's Falcons actually taking shots out towards the north. They've been inside their compound for a while. The Falcons maintaining control. We saw, of course, Irina earlier pushing up towards them on that western side of the compound, but the Falcons do have some dominant sight lines out towards the north, out towards the east. A crazy hop over the ridge line here coming from Kinotrope, but it is not going to pay off, unfortunately. It felt pretty, but it didn't end up that way.
Well, for Thunder Talk, they walk away with only one player alive, but give them credit where credit is due, 8 eliminations. They've done fairly well this game in the elimination category, and now for the remaining solo, his job is to stay alive. We focus our attention on Irina, who takes down IG with quick fashion. In this game, only one player up. Padrino, who's going to be on the outskirts, and Falcons still going to be opposite of Irina, who might be in a better position once the zone shifts, depending on how it ends up unfolding. You talked about Zook, who was that, of course, turret center of zone. Weibo starting to move up just a little bit, but it's getting a bit dicey between themselves and the solo of Ida, but also NTxJaMiR Red Force.
Nice.
Doxy getting collected there and sending on out wide. For NTxJaMiR Red Force, they're going to try and regroup over towards this approach towards Sook, who's finally getting pushed off this hill with Alpha Gaming starting to poke their noses in. Oh, wait, no, take it back. It's just repositioning so he can hold the hill even better as they come on through. Ida do fall in this game as well, which means that now we're down to just 6 teams remaining. An immediate knockback onto Reefus there from NTxJaMiR Red Force.
All right, APG have to get him back onto his feet if they possibly can. A 4-man unit here would be powerful. Everybody is basically a 4-man unit outside of APG unless the res does come through. Zook still dead center of the zone. NTxJaMiR Red Force, great shots onto Weibo up ahead. Now the question is, how much value is Zook going to provide when we see NTxJaMiR Red Force decide to push in to the 3 stragglers on the left-hand side for Weibo?
Sook should have broadside on this approach. It's going to force XZY, who has been lasering some shots on this hillside, to be into a low ground rotate. Beanie going to try and move on in as well, but Order starting to cook the nades. So is 33Z, and they are now exchanging ordnance from one another. The spray down's good. Again, connects over towards Order. In the meantime, by the way, Valo did just take a knock. I believe that's from Henry. Not likely to get flushed just yet, but this fight seems to be a little bit stagnated that we're on board with Weibo. NTxJaMiR Red Force just taking a second, taking a beat.
Spread out quite a bit, aren't they? APG taking some shots onto Biddy from the distance. And Weibo able to recover. And that's going to be big news for them. I thought the curtain was closing as Noxious Red Force started to push in. E-Arena Falcons still opposite of each other. This fight has yet to unfold completely, but it's about to start. E-Arena has to push up now. Blue Zone is going to encompass where their current location is at. They've got to find a way to break their way through the defensive setup of Falcons in a hardcover POI. In my opinion, I think it's going to be an impossible situation, but we go back to game 2. I thought they were stuck between a rock and a hard place in the hardcover POI they were in, and they broke free. Is this time going to be any different?
It doesn't feel like it. There is a position ahead of them that has control over their sightlines, that has a really solid spot. The only thing that could change it is NTxJaMiR. If they roll up towards the Falcons, there could be a third-party situation here that could go pretty much either way. So we'll have to wait and see if that's going to come into effect. But E-Arena, they get the res, and they're looking to try and push up these hillsides. They've managed to actually get fairly far around on the northern flank of this ridgeline, around the Falcons' foothills. Will NTxJaMiR take shots?
I don't think they will. They're so focused on APG now because they realize APG's on the outside looking in. They've got to come through, and Henry is firing shots down lane. Zayal is taking a vehicle in. So this fight between E-Arena as well as Falcons, it's just going to be those two teams, nobody else. The winner going to be in such a powerful spot as we were setting up earlier, and the fireworks are going off. E-Arena's already lost one. Meanwhile, for the Falcons, well, they're still 4 strong, and they've got to maintain it. But does the tides turn? Well, not so much. Falcons with the Wolfpack looking so incredibly strong. E-Arena 2 down at the moment. Falcons still 4 strong, but Mormon says, hey, it's time to turn the tides, turn our luck. I'm staying alive, and through the window, firing some shots, but still not making a connection. But again, Mormon, you go back to game 2. He was the linchpin for the successful recover for E-Arena when they were getting pincered.
And on the other end of this fight, they're going to have to leave. The circle shifts down south. It is a time-based situation now as well. Koa holding his nerf for 1. Turns back his attention to Sakura. Will be able to find it. Redox deserts him, goes down to the rounds of E-Arena, and he is not long for the same fate. The Falcons fall, and E-Arena make the crossing, but at the cost of half their roster and a hell of a lot of time.
Noxious Red Force now pushing up. You've got NTxJaMiR off to the right. Noxious Red Force have been a team on the outskirts. Now it's time for them to get active. 6 eliminations. They're going all the way. 4 teammates still up. They're the healthiest roster so far, but I do appreciate E-Arena going back to them staying alive, even though they only lose 2 members. Time in and time again, we've seen them get into these tough situations, tough spots where they have to push forward and take over a location, and they've been successful. I've been so impressed with E-Arena's performance.
Order, nade over towards Mormon, and Sakura. Weibo losing Sook, who was on that turret swivel. I said I was looking at?
You didn't say anybody.
I said Weibo.
Oh, you did? Well, you said it because Maxman said it.
No, I said it because he said it at the start of the day, and I believed him. I agree. Just because I agree with something Maxman says, I know it doesn't happen often. No, it actually happens like all the time. It's crazy. He knows what he's talking about. Well, I feel like they have got a chance here.
I think so.
Nongshin Red Force, however, they're looking pretty hot as well. Weibo open the bidding, and it looks like E-Arena going to be suffering pretty heavily here, although they haven't managed to see him.
One still alive. One still alive. TMG taking heavy losses, and they are going to be out now down to the top 2. It's going to be a 2v4. Noxious Red Force looking to potentially have a tremendous day so far. They won game number 1 on Sanhok. They're looking to take game number 3. They are rocketing towards the top 8. They are rocketing their way up the standings. They're already at 9 eliminations. They've already got a winner chicken dinner. Even if the game ended now and they take 2nd place, their undeniable success today is undisputed. But Weibo have vehicles. Weibo, they don't have the numbers, but they've got the heart.
They don't have utility either, though. You can see the armor's in a pretty shambolic state right now. This roll forwards may actually work. They've left the player behind, suppress the ridgeline. They're trying to connect with the spray downs, and Order stays alive. That could be crucial here. They can get some healing done. XZ, can he connect? Yes, the spray down with P90's there. The nade in response, sure. And now Order has to do something. He has to come up big. It's all up to him. A sliver of HP back up to a decent amount, but it's a 1v3 as Benny moves on in. They've got the center of the circle under control. They're looking for the res as the flushes come on through. It's all but closed down, and NTxJaMiR Red Force want 2 chicken dinners today.
Here they go. Orders spring into action. He can potentially clutch this up, but he's going to have to work hard. He falls short. Weibo finishes second, and NTxJaMiR Red Force finished the game 3 with a winner chicken dinner. 12 eliminations, making it their second win of the day.
A beautiful close down again. They are calm and controlled in these final moments. I think it's safe to say for NTxJaMiR Red Force, they have turned themselves around since day one. Really didn't go their way. They have earned the lion's share of their points today, and they are in that race now. They are in the conversation for a top 8 position. It is a brilliant story to tell for the roster from South Korea. They have had a great time of it. Weibo as well, getting up into second place there. I think maybe an overcommit over towards the E-Arena Falcon situation. Really gave up the ghost on that. Obviously losing Sook in the middle was a pretty heavy toll to pay.
Well, E-Arena as well, again, handing their flowers, tough spots, back-to-back maps, making it out, thriving in a difficult spot. They finish off in 3rd place with 7 eliminations. They continue to impress me. E-Arena, if they can make it to the finals, my goodness, they would be scary. That's game 3 done. 3 more to go. We send it to a break. When we come back, game 4 coming your way.
You go. We used to be kids, now I feel so grown. I miss being free to be me, not alone. I used to have friends, but we don't talk anymore. I guess it's on me, I got busy. I used to drink soda, now I switched to whiskey. I didn't want time to pass, but time is fast. I just wish you were more than memories. I got kids now, but I'm a kid now. I haven't grown in my mind, just my skin now. I don't get taxes, I hate chores, I hate mail, bills, and miss the outdoors. I feel like the air used to smell different. The grass was greener in the summers were for swimming. I used to play baseball every inning. Now I work for a living.
This land is calling.
Podcasts and hear less music. My brain feels different and I don't want to lose it. I try to stay healthy but I'm tired all the time, cause there's too much on my mind. Got into meditation, just try to be more patient. Find a passion, a purpose, a reason to keep chasing all the dreams that I had when I was a little kid. Whatever happened to those dreams, man, there's something that I miss. Maybe I should do this, I always love music. Maybe I could find a way to make these dreams lucid. I really want to try, cause I might have a chance before I die to see the world with a soulmate by my side. Yeah, that would be the life, not a fucking 9 to 5. I wanna feel alive for a minute at a time. Let the kid out the start, kept it on the inside. Who had dreams, big things were gonna come from his life.
The Pulsar Legionnaire set comes with its own super cute voice lines that can be toggled on or off. It also features the upgradable Hyperion Ship DSR and JetReaver Glider with special animations. Experience parachuting like never before. That's not all. Even more rewards await. Event period, July 25th, 2025 through August 26th, 2025. What are you waiting for? Get the new Guild set now.
Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself in check. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, turn my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put it on the side, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being straight with my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.
Neptura, you might be the lucky charm for this team. Namjoon Red Force, you talk about them at the beginning of the day. Their second win today.
I'm very happy with how Namjoon have been playing.
I want the real stuff, everybody listen up. Cause I'll only say it once, I'm gonna show you all the path. If you want it bad, I'm gonna show you where it's at. Yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want. Yeah, rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooter's gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I fall. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all the start, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, let me in. Yeah, I just wanna be genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed. Stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me. I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah. I was born to be a fighter, had these dreams and desires. I would be something better, energy, got a fire in my soul to keep burning, a pain that keep hurting, a curse is emerging, feel the thirst, keep on working, I won't stop, I won't quit, to the top of this shit, I get lost in the work, sweat dripping.
Actually get on there because NTxJaMiR were on the other side. Nongshim coming into the high ground instead had a better angle up against NTxJaMiR, so they were actually able to kind of take that away from them, take the high ground, whereas WBG just was not going to stand a chance against that.
I think we'll have to go see what happens, okay, with this team. Yeah, we're doing some weird splits. We'll come back to it, but what I want to see is, I want to hear what happened with Hora Esports, because that last game, it seemed like they were doing the right rotations, they were doing the right moves, but ultimately, they just met their demise. So let's go into an interview with them. Barney, take it away.
Having just passed the halfway point here on our final day of the group stage, I've got No Fear with me from Hora Esports. No Fear, you and your team are kind of tiptoeing around that cut-off point from 8th place. So maybe you'll have to fight through the survivor stage. Maybe if you have a late push, you'll be able to get into the grand final spots from today. Tell me what issues you're facing, what problems you're running into, and what's going well for your team so far.
We are facing some issues in game, like information-based game. We are lacking that, so we are trying to overcome that and following games. And we are a little bit nervous on the game, and we have to play little slowly. And we are going to play like we did in PMSL CSA. We are a little bit off than that. We are not playing our own game, so we are lacking that, and hopefully we can overcome that.
Yeah, exactly. You've got 3 maps left until it kind of gets decided at the end of the group stage. So what's the plan now? Are you going to be able to fix any issues that you have right now? Are you going to get aggressive?
Yeah, we are trying to play. As I said, we are trying to play an information game, and we usually don't push like blindly. So we are trying to play much slower and more aggressive. So hopefully in 3 matches we can get top 8.
Okay, top 8 is the goal, of course. Thank you so much, No Fear, for joining me from Hora Esports, and best of luck in the rest of the final day of the group stage. Back to you guys.
Well, we're going to wait and see if they're going to be able to make it there towards the top 8, because as I mentioned, they were trying to do some rotations. I mean, Blank even ended up choosing them. As soon as he chose them, it ended up going south for them. But there you go, No Fear, only being able to get just 1 elimination, 275 damage. But let's move on from Hora Esports, because I actually want to get a chance to talk a little bit more about Weibo. Weibo, we always talk about the docketing. We saw Sook being very far away from their squad, Max.
I like what Doc is doing. How about do a bit of that, okay? It was quite interesting because this entire game, Sook was split from the rest of his team. So Sook was in a building over to the western side, not quite in the mountain. And the mountain where the circle ended up going had the 3 other players of WPG. They just stay there the entire time. Then they pull a little Uno reverse card, send Sook over to the high ground position, lead the 3 other players in the compound to the west. And we're like, okay, that's a good scouting position. They're going to hold it until maybe phase 4, 5. Okay, we're chilling. I think they took until phase 6 to start even just thinking about regrouping onto Sook. And the fact that Sook is not eliminated during that time is just mind-boggling to me. I think they were scared of possible off angles, taking away that possible win from them. So I do get that they were scared about it, but the delay took so long that I would love to know what was happening internally, because so many things must have been taken into account for this team to not be willing to regroup.
And that's what I was talking about too for this team as well, because of the delay that they just didn't want to find on some Red Force. They had the chance. Order seemed like he wanted to get an angle on them. Ultimately, it didn't end up happening, Neptura.
No, it didn't. I think it was a really interesting play to come through from them. It's one of those things that I think has everybody a little bit confused, but at the same time is what got them a 2nd place, almost a 1st place finish. They just wanted to keep that timing or keep to themselves a little bit more. They were not confident in that. And actually, I kind of think it goes into what we've been saying, is that if you want to make a play it with confidence and actually commit to that. And I think if they were unwilling to commit to a push, then actually staying and committing to the stay was the way to go.
I think they may have been scared from Nongshim Red Force's southern angle. Maybe you just push that, you know? Maybe you just go for Big Sen, then you can have exude as much control as you want on the circle at that point. So I do agree with your idea here that maybe just do it together. I do get also the idea that maybe scared a little bit, but you have to take control eventually, because as you keep delaying it, you will lose a player, and that's how we did end up losing Sook at the end of that match.
You gotta make that decision. You can't wait too long, but let's take a look at the overall. Let's see if maybe Nongshim Red Force is gonna be in the top 8. And they still got games to go, so that pretty much means that for Nongshim Red Force, there's a high chance that you might be able to make it there towards grand finals. One thing that's a little bit scary for me, looking at all of this, Max, is that Alpha 7 Esports, look at them, they just really haven't been able to get that many points.
Don't forget, man, you got Horror behind them, you got Alpha Gaming behind them. If they keep slipping, Alpha 7, I knew it was going to happen eventually. Alpha 7 will be slipping out of the top 8. We can't have that happening to the reigning champions. So Nongshim, good comeback from 22nd in 3 games, getting up to 8th place. But as you said, Alpha 7 in the hot seat. They need to do something in these next 3 matches.
And right now, for some of the other teams that are currently watching the games from their hotel, I'm looking at Yangon Galacticos, Ringnam Karya, Esports. Have they done enough? Because with the ways that Nongshim Red Force is currently playing, and if that top 8, Neptura.
Actually, yeah, you make a really, really good point. Regnum in particular, up and up. They are going to be able to surpass them 100%. I think even top 3 is not looking so safe compared to how these teams have been playing.
We saw Alpha 7 there having 69 points earlier. You can see Weibo Gaming right now with 58 points. You have TT Global 10 points behind that. So, I mean, you were saying it, Max, they're not safe. They're not safe at all, and we need to start seeing have had some good rotations.
They've had very good rotations right throughout this tournament, so they could jump up there. Alpha 7, they need to be careful because, again, they're in the hot seat. They could fall off. That would be one of the biggest upset here in the group stage.
Okay, well, I'm ready to see what's going to be happening here in this final area. But before that,
let's send it over to Barney on the stage.
Welcome, everybody, to the Qiddiya Esports Arena, right here, live from Riyadh for the PUBG Mobile World Cup at EWC. I am Veracity, joined alongside the lovely Barney Banks. And Barney, I want to kick things off, first and foremost, for apologizing for my behavior yesterday. It was unacceptable, totally uncalled for, and this gorgeous stage is more than big enough for the two of us.
It is big enough for the two of us. You know what? We can let bygones be bygones. The stage is big enough. It's absolutely fine. I'll kick things off by talking about map number 1, because it was quite pivotal that two teams that were high up the leaderboard got eliminated early on, both Alter Ego and Team Falcons. But ultimately, at the very end, when the final circle pulled in, it was Nongshim Red Force going up against Ida Esports, and Nongshim Red Force took the victory and secured 23 points on the board for Veracity.
That's impressive, Barney, but I love one to...
You know what, Veracity? I actually
15
don't
eliminations,
forgive
Barney.
You. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take map number 2 and I'll see you later. Have some fun up there. Map number 2, after a dramatic shift south from the circle, it was teams descending onto each other, and ultimately Power Esports took the victory, even though Alter Ego Ares managed to secure 21 points on the board. Faced off, against Weibo Gaming. And again, for their second chicken dinner of the day, Nongshim Red Force managed to secure the victory. What a phenomenal day we've had so far. Only 3 games left, and we can't wait to see who makes it into the top 8. See you there.
This is not over, Barney Banks.
Someone get her down from there. Jasmine, do you need assistance? It's like some kind of Bond villain. It's just that, look, she's like, can someone please help? Oh, mate, what a cool stage, though, bro. It's always so exciting, but especially today, especially now. Last 3 games, group stage, the anticipation, the climax, the teams that have been putting so much into every outing in this lobby.
Red, green going at it today. Group yellow is currently out. Those are the teams that we will be chasing over the next 3 matches. We've had 3 bangers just coming off the back of with Reflections and John, and it'll be me and Jackie. Me being blank.
That's me, I'm Jackie, hello.
To take these final 3 games and see who will be grabbing that 80 grand that's up for grabs at the top spot. But not only that, the top 8 spots that will make it straight through to the finals, and which 16 teams will be joining us over in Survival.
You can see already, if you haven't been hearing the reverberations, the audio capacity, the set of lungs we've got on this audience when Falcons have been in the arena, well, you're probably going to be hearing some of that today. Hey, and the little pre-game rituals in as well, Alter Ego. I don't think they need it. The way they have been performing as individuals and as one collective, the 5 fingers on one hand forming a fist for Indonesia and punching through the competition.
5 fingers?
Yeah, 5 fingers. Well, and a thumb.
That makes more sense with the 4 fingers as well. 4 players play.
Yeah, fair enough. You got me there. You got me there.
You have me.
Yeah.
You have me.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough, Blank. 1-0 Blank.
We have Erangel coming at you. We'll have 2 Miramars to finish things off, but this is our last Erangel of the group stage. And we'll be starting over in Severny down towards Ols Sozinovka and military base. So the team players for now. We are starting very far up on the map here. Alter Ego currently on top, not far away from overtaking 4 Thrives in that first place position. Alpha 7 also hoping to maintain over towards the top 8 here with 69 points, followed shortly by Nongshim Red Force with the 67.
This is a nice stat to look at as well, man. Obviously with Falak being here, but Rosemary still having opportunity to build on those high caliber plays he's been making. Unbelievable damage, fantastic impact. But this is what I was saying, right? It's not just him. It feels like the team has been setting up each other perfectly, Blank. The comms are clean, the decision making is brilliant. If they keep going like this, it's going to be devastating.
There's been a lot of talk about Rosemary, honestly, and there's a lot around him, but I think that when we really boiled it down, that there was a huge amount of success which was pinpointed around Alva as a player. in terms of his scouting, dangerous missions that he's been on to set the rest of the team up nicely. He's been a very, very key pickup for that squad to allow Rosemary to succeed in the way that he had. You can see the leaderboard right now, pretty tight, honestly, pretty tight. With Weibo currently at 58, TT with 59, Ida at 62. So there is chance for teams to jump up. It's not just Nongshim Red Force fighting for this one. They're in a worrisome position. Ida could overlap them potentially. We already have an engagement starting off here over towards AX, losing a player in Rozok.
Not the dream scenario you want going into the later half of the day. A rough drop. Oh, mate. Not what you want, Blank. Try and get that sorted out immediately, get the things going, the blood pumping. Saw this yesterday with some of the decision making. Let's have a look though where we're going to kick things off. In-game POV, we join the Alpha 7 boys on the move. And again, like you said, I think they've been coming out, playing with a bit more of that classical flavour. It looks like Alpha 7 on the stage again.
Bit more gusto, honestly. I really like that maneuver they made down towards Milter, you know, trying to play off the back of the road stop. Never that easy, honestly. They did eventually get wrapped on, but I think up until that point, they held their own quite nicely there. So I think for Alpha 7, they do want to have a much more explosive entrance here, but to be honest, at this point, at this stage of the tournament, they'd be quite happy just to get into the top 8, to get that free over towards finals. This is Alter Ego, actually. Who else other than Rosemary? Got a bit annoyed at us for talking about Alva too much, wanting to remind us who's the king.
It is crazy as well, because it's one of those dynamics, right? We say it sometimes, we have like a 2-2 split of players that compete amongst each other within the same roster. Whereas for them, like you say, they're passing the baton willingly, setting each other up to make sure that relay race for knocks, for damage, for placements is always clean. But yeah, obviously, if he gets an opportunity, Blank's can take those knocks all damn day.
He'll show off. He will show off. I think for another team like that right now, it's somewhat of a different story, is Alpha Gaming, where it's a weird one. Yeah. It does feel like a case sometimes where a player will just send out the rest of the team. They will just join in. Even that first today where we saw Alpha shoot down towards the south side to take out Team Falcons, despite having one of the strongest compounds inside that circle early. It was a weird one for me. At the moment, they're not doing too badly, 50 points, but they are in 15th right now with that scoreline. So they want to bump that score up. It would be a bit of a jump, but it's not out of the realms of possibility for Alpha Gaming to get just a gigantic match. It's hard to count this team out too early here. With 3 matches to go, though, not a lot of time left, and that 32 points for Falcons. It's not an ideal number to be on. 21st place as well. It would have to be a mega jump up. I think, if I'm being quite honest, a bit brutal, really. Yeah. Cole is the only player on that team at the moment that I really see standing up. I mean, I've had a lot of admiration for Ralph, Nalvalo, Redox in the past years, but it's funny to me that their newest in these games. We'll wait and see for Falcons. There could be a miracle run, but for me at this point, very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. At this point, you kind of want the crowd to just be chill.
Let them build.
Yeah.
Let them build, then follow. Yeah. No, I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean. It can be that double-edged sword, It's kind of so that's the way it's gone. But two sides to it, I guess.
Nongshim Red Force on the right side of the coin each time it's flipped today, it seems. Some very good plays from them. Get themselves into 8th here, which would secure them if we ended things right now. I think Nongshim Red Force has had a nice run. Capitalizing off some teams' maybe inadequacies, we could say. But at the same time, it has just been some good maneuvers. I would put it down to just a case of strong understanding of the map. Macro looked pretty decent. They didn't overrect the pudding a lot either, which is something you see from Alpha Gaming quite a few times. Maybe need some more classes when it comes to bakery, or at least getting some chicken dinners.
I think for IDA as well, it's interesting. Obviously, it felt like they were more of a periphery team in some of the early matchups we saw towards the group stage. You were finding your way through with placements, playing off the zone, but never really being at the forefront of things. With the grouping the way it is, points, though, there's still a chance, mate, and it's looking better today. I think there is definitely a good air in there for them. You know, they've got that second win.
Right? The thing for them is, I've always classed them as an up-and-comer squad. They have some very... Maybe it's early land jitters. This is only their second day of play. Everything could change. I do know Ida going to the survival stage is not going to be fun whatsoever. I don't think that's an easy place for them to be. I think they'd rather just make it straight through to the finals itself, get to watch all the play happen, and then just feel a lot more comfortable and researched going into that finals. So it does need to be a big push from Ida. Again, other teams are chasing. We've got Thunder Talks as well as Wave. Chasing. We've got Thunder Talks as well as Weibo. And Nongshim Red Force, if they don't let up, could become a little bit more difficult to grab onto the coattails of those teams in the top 8.
Let's go back to your point as well for a similar team that, you know, the question mark was, will they struggle being thrown into the deep end of a big stage like this, global event? For AX, I think, you know, day 1, day 2, honestly, they kind of just played their game. They showed up to really just give it their best. Over the course of the event, though, I'm curious to see if that's cooled off a little bit. This was like an unlucky one for him. Obviously, 2 individual solo knocks there. Rosemary was able to claim 1. We just saw the second go down, so already losing a lot of that stock early.
I think it's tough as well when you have this group format where, you know, they're going to play day 1 and then they'll play day 3.
Yeah.
The issue for them is that I don't really think they found their stride in day 1, and then you're not playing. So you lose all momentum on that day 2. And I do think that there is something to be said where, you know, you come into day 1, you just own it, and you take your day off, and then you go into day 3, and you can just feel pretty happy in yourself. But there's a lot of maybe self-doubt, you know, rumination in the mind if you are AX on day 2. Is like, what can we do better? What can we do differently? I think 41 points is not a bad scoreline for a special invite team. I don't think they've completely lost the plot. So I think it's nice to see. I think AX can be proud of themselves, but survival stage will be a different beast. I am expecting to see AX in that survival stage on this current point scoring.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, though, maybe that'll work out better for them as well, because it's just far more experience, especially for that team in particular. It could be good for them. Looks like a knock over onto the Falcons, though. First wing has been clipped.
It's coming through on the western side, actually on the southwest where Kinotrope were playing. You know, I think for Kinotrope as well, they do play around this area fairly frequently. And for Falcons, they have very similar rotations because Kinotrope does enjoy playing in Pachinki, as do the Falcons. And historically, Falcons don't do all that hot when you start having teams playing around your initial rotational points. We saw that early on Sandhawk with Sami and Alpha Gaming, which we mentioned a little bit earlier. Current circle over towards Shelter, though, Jackie. Bit of open ground, not really definitive on any of the compounds just yet. Teams will find places to hunker down. We're over towards the gondolas right now for Alpha 7. This is all the way up towards Stalba. So they've still got a ways to go. I think they're one of the only teams, if not the only team, currently still out in the blue.
Intense game here. They were coming down the backside of the hill, had a read at least into Alter Ego. Obviously a bit of a split there. You've got Rosemary further out to the 2-2. It's Krypton that makes a bit of a move here. Rejoin with the rest of the squad, hop back in the vehicle, keep himself covered. See how they play this one.
Or you go on that western side, yeah. The split between them is pretty big, pretty substantial. See when they want to regroup things up, and you're right, NTxJaMiR are chilling around the peripheries of that area on the western side. You got Rosemary and one other player, can't quite see the name there, having a look down towards that southern side. R8 taking a knock, that's over towards Mansion actually. You can see it on your screens, we bring up the map feed, which is available to you all at home, by the way. Head over towards PUBG Mobile Esports over at YouTube, pick that one up. Keep tabs of your favorite teams and their rotates.
Follow all the action in one nice little neat package. get the information that we use here live on the cast as well. Team's on the move now. Squash from the wraparound. Everyone else heading down. It's GPay that's just ahead. And of course, what remains of AX as well, taking a wide berth to join up. But we'll hold that for back over. E-Arena on screens for now. You've got a crash down from the hillside with Kino Trope coming in. Mormon on the push back up. Ooh, big tag into the back. Quick response as they turn their heads and find that one. Tamar with the damage done. It's big Papa Pump that's clipping legs from the side. Bullets coming in from the third party as well. Trying to clean up and see what you can steal away from this. That's the smooth moves, but an instant shot back over. That's TT that are taking pot shots at it.
That was a messy engagement, massively messy engagement, and a perfect opportunity for Thundertox as well, because this is around the center of the circle right now. Thundertox is able to clip two teams out at the same time in E-Arenas, looking a little bit worse for wear here. King's not fully committing over towards it. Here's Alpha Gaming once again looking to ruin the day of the Falcons. That is a brave nade sent by Doc, and Reefus is just forced to handle it.
Danger close, but the danger is Alpha Gaming, and it's their middle name right now. Just one man left. Narvalo. 4 nades in the backpack, casts out the first stone as he throws it over. Top from distance, trying to catch Reed from the side. If he does peek out to shut him down, nade could be on target, just short.
Close though, Hovercraft comes in, delivering players up close. Come on, this nade's gonna go off right next to you. Doesn't do all too much damage to the Hovercraft just yet. Starts to smoke. Molotov sent through into the building. They don't have a read on his position just yet.
More paranoid about the compound. I think he's down to his nades now as well. Yeah, that's all the stock he's got left. Cooking this right down towards the end. Last one's going to be prime. Sideline chip damage over. They don't want to run into this and throw away one player. Ooh, but Top will get the shot on the peak. That's what they were setting up for.
Good watch from Top there. Holding in the background, has done that quite a few times there for Alpha K when he's forced to pick up the pieces when the front line heads on in. But for Alpha Game, very, very important match for them, right? They want to climb that leaderboard up to 53 points on this match. Powers finding Ida from R8. And here's Intense Game. Pretty long range on this one. Long, broad, open spaces. Rosemary down as well. Alter Ego probably want to chill this one out.
Yeah, I think that was the team name from the backline. So the splash damage knocked him back down to his last legs. They have to smoke to at least reset, block vision, see if they can try and cauterize this one a little bit. Obviously, Intense Game, we're looking to really backdoor into this quite some time ago. Gamax as well, they get thrown into the fight versus Alpha 7. We were setting up previously. Silence fires shots back over. Ooh, this is starting to look messy in the lobby blank.
Yeah, not easy. With the circle, actually, hard shift down towards the southwest side, towards Farm as well, which is an uncomfortable area to play on the map. Alpha